Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Verified Gains, where we discuss cryptocurrency and hopefully other things after this year. So let's dive right in to the Bitcoin chart. So first of all, really we're still in this no man's territory, if you will. We're sort of tracing back the prices that we've experienced right after the US presidential election, where we had very little resistance. And now, after however many months, we're starting to retest those prices. Now, from a local standpoint, in previous videos, I had time and time again mentioned the long shadow to the downside on this particular red candle right here, and how usually there will be subsequent candles that form a body, a real body, retesting that shadow. And that's what we're seeing over here. So you see the thick part of the candle is forming, is, if you will, quote unquote, filling in those prices, hitting a low of about $78,000. And we're actually going to go ahead and mark it, and this will essentially serve as a horizontal support line. So now we have a horizontal support line at $78,000. You see two candles, not perfect, but ended up retesting, okay, closing very near that horizontal support line, opening, okay, above the support line, and closing above the support line, forming this green candle right here. So from a technical perspective, this is a very good sign. And although we might retest it, the hope is that this was the bottom. This is the local bottom right here. And we should head back towards $92,500 to retest this level. So that's where we are right now. Now, from a DCA perspective, you have two choices, because ideally you should have DCA'd right here, and now you have two choices because right now you're in the dead man zone. There's probably an equal likelihood of us retesting, but if you're going to wait until $92,500, then really you should wait until we consolidate above, okay, $92,500 before dollar cost averaging. And if you're betting on the downside, then you should wait until we retest and bounce back off the $78,000 to dollar cost average. So those would be the two best scenarios. And then, of course, the big question is, well, how do we know that this was the bottom and we're going to go back to the upside? It's very hard to say, and we're going to circle back to that. Let's look at Solana very quickly. So here we didn't really have any, similar pattern where we had to form a real body. If anything, I've been kind of mentioning, there's really nothing. Here, like maybe here, okay. I wouldn't say that's a significant candle. I would say maybe this one, and that's a low of around 126. See here, we actually filled that price, but ended up breaking to the downside. So hypothetically, we could draw another horizontal support line right here. And you can see that we retested, broke through to the upside, and now we're starting to consolidate, albeit a very small candle. Okay, so this is this is a pretty risky one. I mean, you could choose to dollar cost average. Like for example, this is not financial advice, but I would have dollar cost average right here actually. Okay. It's just that I won't be buying more Solana um, until next week. Okay. But if I were to DCA, then this would be a good price point right here, 126. And similar to Bitcoin, my next price point would be here, around 170. Okay. With all these, small candles right here is basically dead man zone. Okay, I'm not going to be making any significant investments in this empty space right here. Rather, I'm going to try to see if we could retest 170, break above it, and consolidate, and that would be another great entry point. And on the last video, so I sort of alluded to the fact that this correction that we're seeing is not unique to cryptocurrency, that we've also been experiencing that in the traditional equities market. So let's take a quick look at it. Starting with the S&P 500. Last time I mentioned, while putting the chart on logarithmic scale, I drawn this parallel channel from way back when, and we almost retested the top of the parallel channel, but we actually never truly touched it, and we're starting to go back up. Okay, does this pattern look familiar? Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin and Solana are doing the exact same thing. So now the question is, well, and this is a very important question because, one possibility is we keep going up, much like this, okay? We don't always have to touch the channel. However, if we were meant to touch the top of the parallel channel over here, then that means this week or possibly next week, we might actually form some red candles and retest this trend line right here. And if that is the case, then Bitcoin and Solana and other crypto assets will follow suit, and they will also drop in price. So you have to keep that in mind. This is where risk management and technical analysis comes into play. All right. However, the only red flag that I saw was pretty much on the S&P 500 index. If you do look at NQ1, excuse me, that's not NQ1. Still using the free trial, the free version of tradingview.com, because you know what? I'm not going to pay for a subscription. Every dollar, every cent that I have right now is going straight into Solana. Okay, that was a little spiel. Okay. All right. Looking at NASDAQ. Okay, so right now on TradingView, I'm using the NASDAQ 100. And here is actually a little more reassuring because you can see that it is touching the center portion of this parallel channel. And so from the perspective of NASDAQ, we've actually made all the correction necessary, and we may actually now start bouncing back up. Okay. So S&P 500, we may correct a little more. NASDAQ, I think the correction is over. Okay, that is my humble opinion. And I'm really hoping that this is the actual case right here because, quite frankly, everybody is tired of the correction. The FOMC meetings are never going to end. Inflation data looked pretty good to me. And I'm hoping we actually bounce back up because, guys, it's already mid-March and people are getting fatigued. We're expecting bull cycle top to be in mid-September, so we only have half a year, okay? Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening in once again, and I'll see you guys later.